Planning an Alaska cruise can be exciting, and sometimes it can be overwhelming. Hi, I'm Alex with Storyline Travel. At Storyline Travel, we help you tell your travel story through vibrant cultures. In this video, we're going to talk about 3 different ways you can cruise Alaska. So you've decided to go to that wilderness frontier that is Alaska and take a cruise along the coast of Alaska. That's fantastic. I'm going to talk about 3 different types of cruising you can do and where you would get on your cruise, get off your cruise, and if you stay to the end, I'll even give you some tips about the best times to take a cruise depending on what you're looking for. The first type of cruise is a round-trip cruise. You'll find these cruises departing either from Seattle, Washington in the US or from Vancouver, British Columbia in Canada. Now, the most common cruise port is Vancouver. So if you do select Seattle as the cruise port you're departing, one tip from us is verify you're actually cruising out of Seattle. You see, several cruise lines will provide Seattle as your beginning and ending spot for your cruise. But what they actually do is put you on a motor coach and you drive a few hours north up to Vancouver before you get on the ship. Either way, round-trip cruising in Alaska means you're going to start from one of these 2 cruise ports. Once you leave port, you will sail along the southernmost part of Alaska, stopping in 2 to 3 ports. As you make your way up the coast, you will visit one glacier, typically somewhere like Tracy's Arm or the Dawes Glacier. Once you visit these glaciers, you'll sail back, taking several sea days in the Pacific Ocean, where you will return to your home port, again, either Vancouver or Seattle, and disembark. This type of cruise tends to be less expensive in your overall vacation package. The reason? You only have to worry about flights into and out of one port. You won't see as many ports as you will with other types of Alaska cruises, and typically you'll only visit one glacier. Next, let's talk about one-way cruising. We'll start with a cruise that leaves Seattle and Vancouver and heads up north along the coast. These cruises, again, will take 7 days, but you'll have almost double the port stops and definitely get to see more glaciers, including on some lines spending time in Glacier National Park, where you'll see up to 5 glaciers at once. These glacier stops on many cruise lines are identified as port stops. But understand, unless you're getting on a smaller boat to get closer to that glacier for photos, for example, you actually won't get off of your cruise ship. You'll just spend time near the glacier, up on deck, with either taking videos and pictures or listening to the captain and your Alaska expert tell you more about the glaciers themselves. Now, these trips typically end up near either Seward or Whittier in Alaska, not too far outside of Anchorage. And finally, the third option is to start in Alaska, sailing south. You'll start in either Whittier or Seward and sail along the coast, again visiting many glaciers, and then down along the ports, enjoying the Alaska scenery, looking for wildlife, and visiting the many small towns that make up the Alaska frontier there on the coast. These cruises will end in either Vancouver or Seattle. And just for note, even if you are disembarking in Seattle, you will visit Vancouver as a port stop. So those are the 3 ways that people typically sail Alaska. These sailings will be 7 nights in length and give you an overview of the Alaska coast. The ports will tell you a bit about life in Alaska, both now and in the past. And you'll have the opportunity to see wildlife. One of my favorites is spotting an eagle soaring overhead. You made it this far in the video. I do want to share with you some of the seasons. So typically sailing is May to September, and shoulder seasons being April to October. And I threw out a term, shoulder season. So let me define that. Shoulder season is the time between when you won't have cruise activity and then the more traditional, typical cruise activity. The ships can navigate the waters, but it's probably going to be darker than normal, colder than normal, and depending on the time of year, wetter or snowier than normal. So they're not ideal for cruising and visiting Alaska, but they do usually come with cost savings. Also, I wanted to say for the seasons, the earlier in the year is the drier time of the season. So if you're sailing in May or June, you'll see more sun, less rain. As we get into July, you'll actually have the opportunity to see more animals. This is the fact that most of the animals have come out of hibernation that do hibernate. Most of the snowmelt has gone at this point, and you're in a transition period between it being really dry and the rain starting to fall. As you get into August, the rain picks up and you'll see more days of gray, fewer days of sun going into September. And around August 23rd, the nights will get long enough that you'll get an opportunity, in many cases, to see the aurora borealis, the northern lights. So use those tips. What's most important to you? Pick your sail date based on those different and changing seasons. And when you're ready to book your sailing, give Storyline Travel a call. In Storyline Travel, we believe every adventure is a story waiting to be told.